I told you I was going to come live and blend some colors for you tonight. It's a little later than I thought, but I'm still here, right? So give a couple seconds for everyone to get on, but I'm just going to talk about what I'm doing here. Hope you guys can see okay. So this is a huge pine chest that I'm working on. This is actually a customer's piece. It's solid pine. It's very rustic. And this is the look I did on that buffet not too long ago. So I'm gonna, it has a base coat on it, just a very rough first coat, just to lay some color on. And I'm gonna go through and do my second coat tonight, which is exactly the same as the first. I'm just gonna duplicate it. My 3 colors, I put in the title too of this. Hey Tess. So I'm using Dixie Belle Stormy Seas, which is a dark blue. Vintage Duck Egg is my medium. And then Driftwood is a gray. That's my light. And then I also have out Caviar, which is a black. And I'm going to use this very sparingly just for some shading, but I do have it out. I have a spray bottle. I have a brush for each color. So I get a lot of questions about how do I choose colors, and I'll show you what I do, what I look for right here. So these are 3 tones, and you can see them next to each other. They all are, you know, kind of the same tone, where you can see that I have a dark, a medium, and a light. We're all blended together. It's going to make sense. It's going to make a shaded look. You know, you could do this with totally contrasting colors, but you get a pretty bold ombre. I want a really more subtle look. Hi, Amy. Hi, Patricia. Hi, Jennifer. Thank you guys for stopping by. So, I forgot one thing, so hang on. Okay, so like I was saying, I laid a base coat of this on last night, so it's nice and dry. And then I've gone through my whole piece with a sanding sponge. This is a 120 grit, although it's so old, it's probably like 220 grit now. And I just rubbed my piece down. And all I'm doing, I'm not trying to sand the paint down. I'm just knocking down any like nubs where maybe a spot of dust got stuck in my paint or something. I just want to knock those little nubs down. So I brushed this all down, and then I cleaned the dust off. What's my base coat? My base coat is exactly the same as the coat we're going to do right now. It's exactly the same. So I do 2 of the same. When I lay on the base coat, I just do it rough. It doesn't really matter how my blending looks. I'm just trying to get 2 coats of the same color over each other in roughly the same spot. So a base coat is exactly what we're doing right now, only I don't pay so much attention to the blending because it's just a base. This coat, I'm actually going to pay attention. Oh, let me talk about this here. My husband had to do a repair on this cabinet, so this piece of wood is a new piece that he just added for me today. It had a pine trim here that was cracked, so he just added that. So that's the only reason that's not painted. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. So like I said, I have my 3 colors out, a brush for each color. Lightly sanded these. I'm going to spray this with water. I don't want to, you know, dilute my paint, but it just helps it glide so much easier with a little bit of water on there. I have barely any Stormy Seas left. I start with my dark color. Let me get this piece of pine that's bothering me. You guys see what I'm doing? I don't want to be sitting in the way either. Okay. There, now that kind of blends in a little bit better. Okay, so I start with my darker color, and I'm going to brush this all around the outside. You guys, when you watch this, you're going to be disappointed that it's so easy. I'm telling you. I almost feel bad doing this live because it's really simple. I just sprayed a little bit more water. You know when you go to put your second coat on and your brush starts sticking? That gives you brush strokes. So that little bit of water just helps it glide that much easier. This is the Stormy Seas. I'm just framing out this door here. It's a pretty flat surface, which the shading helps to give it some detail. This is a customer's piece. She liked the look of the one we just did, only this is going to be a little more rustic, so I'm going to add some distressing. Camera keeps refocusing. Yeah, my phone was doing that last time too, and I'm not sure why. Like every time I move. Bring it in a little closer. Yeah, that's even worse, huh? That's my phone doing it. I think it's every time I move it. Wow. Okay, I'm not sure how to stop my camera from wanting to refocus every time I move. So I'm just going to keep going. Just a little bit of water. Okay, so I'm going to kind of overlap where I want my next color to go. Okay, so that was the Stormy Seas. Now I'm going to come back with the Vintage Duck Egg, which is the medium color. And I'm going to brush that like right over. It's not going to look good, you guys. It's going to look bad. They always look bad before they look better. I'm brushing it right over where I put the Stormy Seas, letting those two colors blend together. You can kind of decide if you want your transition line to be out here or inside the box. I'm just going to let it be kind of outside, I think. It's kind of hard because I would normally be sitting with this straight on looking at it. I'm kind of looking at it from the side, so hopefully I can catch where it needs fixing. Okay, so there I just brushed on the Vintage Duck Egg. I'm going to go back with the Stormy Seas. I'm not adding any paint to my brush. It's pretty dry, and I'm just going to smooth out that transition. Got this, I mean, this is a super rustic piece. It's solid pine, very, very rustic looking. I'm going to add distressing to this because it's got that rustic look. So how does that look on camera? Okay, so there's my Vintage Duck Egg, and then I end it with the light color. So I'm going to come back with the driftwood and put that in my center. Are you guys disappointed how easy this is yet? I'm not showing you anything fantastic, huh? So I want good coverage. I'm going to make sure I don't have any bare spots. You can kind of blend it over the Vintage Duck Egg because I'm going to come back with that. Okay, so even right there, it's pretty smooth transition. But I just really want that driftwood to be like the very center. It's just a little highlight. I don't want it to look like I used 3 different colors. It's just meant to look like a highlight in the paint. This is my brush with Vintage Duck Egg. I did not add any paint to it. I'm just using it with what was left on the brush from before. But it's enough that it smears into that driftwood. I'm so sorry it's blurred. You're relieved. You could do this. You could do this. It's so easy. Honestly, I'm not doing anything spectacular. It's really, really a simple, just brushing the paint together. If it's not blending very well, this is getting kind of dry. You just spritz it with some water. Oh my gosh, that is so frustrating. Are you getting the colors from the other paint colors in the jars? I'm not really sure I understand that. Let's see. Do you always leave the... Yes. When I'm blending, I always leave the doors and drawers on because you don't want to take off a drawer. You you don't want to take off a drawer and then try to blend it while it's out of your piece, because then your transition lines are going to be off. So I always blend with them in, and then I will take these out and touch up around my drawer, around my door. I go back and do all that after the fact. So honestly, that's one. This whole process isn't going to take me that long. I'm going to come over here and do the other one. I'll show you what I plan to do with the black too, because I forgot to do it over there. So again, I start with the dark color, sprayed it with some water. I'm starting with the dark color. Still a little dry. I just want that water to help my paintbrush glide. I don't want to dilute my paint at all. That's just to help it glide a little bit easier over the first coat. That also helps reduce your brush strokes too. Okay, so then for a little bit more, oops, I got some water on there. For a little bit more drama, a little bit more contrast, if I dip, this is my dark color, and I just dipped the brush in the black paint, like barely any on there. A little bit goes a long way, and I'm just going to tap it in the corners. A little bit more. Okay, and then I'm going to brush that into my paint. That is so subtle. That would be like the effect of black wax. I'm going to do a little bit more. I am going to use dark waxes for the same purpose, but this just gives my outer edge just that extra little bit of depth and contrast. It's almost like adding a fourth color to it even, but I'm just brushing that into my dark color. Just that little bit of black. I'll go back and do it to the other side too. Okay, so that was my Stormy Seas. And I'm going back with the medium color, which is the Vintage Duck Egg. You guys bored yet? This is going to be so pretty. It will be. I'm going to add hardware onto this drawer, so it'll have knobs on here. I'm going to distress this one. It's going to get some glazing and some gold around the this framing on the doors. The colors on this are Stormy Seas is my dark, Vintage Duck Egg is my medium, and Driftwood is the light color. I just added a little bit of water. It was starting to get a little dry. You can spray it as you want, as you want your paints to blend together a little bit better. Just helps it glide on a little easier. I'm not trying to dilute the paint, just help it glide easier. Sorry, that squeak is annoying, huh? I'll have to fix that. Never bored with me. Oh, thanks, sweetie. Okay, so that was the Vintage Duck Egg. Now I'm going to come back with my dark, and I'm going to soften this transition a little bit. I did not add any paint. My brush is almost dry. Just has the Stormy Seas from before. So if they overlap, I'm just letting them blend together with an almost dry brush. How's that look? Probably a little further out than I want it to be. So I'm going to wet this and add a little bit more dark paint. Wow, that squeak is super annoying. Can you guys hear that? The store squeaks. It's a really rustic cabinet. So, honestly, you just keep brushing them together until you like the look. Okay, so now I'm going to do the Driftwood, and I'm just adding that to the center. I can go through and do this whole look on this whole cabinet in probably a half an hour. It's super dramatic, but the process is so easy. It's not uncommon that I will let this dry and then come back and see if I don't like a transition. I will redo that spot. I will repaint that, that door or drawer or whatever until I like until all my transitions are smooth. Brush up a little bit into each other. See, I'm brushing upwards instead of horizontally. I did not add any paint to this brush. This is just the vintage duck egg that was on there before. I'm going to brush down from the top. I want to bring that line inwards a little bit. So I'm going to highlight that a little bit more. Just right in the center. I'm going to go back and do that one again too. Kind of rushed through it. Okay, how's that look? So I'll probably let this dry a little bit and come back and see if I like it. I'm going to come over here to this edge. Spray it with water. Let's see. What brushes? You know, it's kind of funny because I have really nice brushes, but I go through so many brushes. Like I can go through probably, 5 brushes a week because blending colors, I've got 3 out right now. Plus I'm working on another piece right next to me. That's a 4th. So I use, this one's kind of beat up looking, but this is, these are Wooster shortcut brushes from Home Depot. They're like $6 a piece. Hi Mark. Hey Jan. Hey Sherry. A half hour. Oh my God. So I just use Wooster shortcut brushes. I like the finish they give. I've never had a problem with brush strokes. They're synthetic brushes, nice and soft. And I'm hard on my brushes. So if I go through this and it only lasts me 6 months, you got to consider I do, on average 3 pieces a week. And I'm hard on the brushes. So it's hard for me to keep expensive brushes and use them daily. This is the black. I'm going to brush it into this side piece over here because I did it along this edge too, and I want these to match each other. Okay. So that's kind of our final look, guys. I'll turn this and do a side. I haven't done the sides yet. Yeah, I mean, Wooster shortcut brushes, like I should own stock in this company because it's what I tell people, but I don't have any problem with them. I think they're great. They're cheap little brushes. They're easy to hold. I like them. This is actually a really light piece. This might look pretty light. All right, so that's kind of a different angle. Let me put you guys over here. You guys are on my tripod. That's a pretty good view, huh? You love the Wooster brushes. I'm telling you, they're like super easy to hold. So I hold my brush like this. It fits right in my hand. Rests right here, and where'd my water bottle go? There it is behind me. Okay, so I'm gonna come over here and do this side now. So just like before, I'm gonna spray this with water. That's just to mist it, just so my brush glides a little bit easier. This is my dark color, which is Dixie Belle Stormy Seas. I'm gonna frame the outside. You guys are welcome. When I was learning to paint, all I did, and I still do, I sit and watch videos on YouTube and read tutorials and stuff, and there's so much out there that's available for free. I've never paid for a tutorial. That's just my personal opinion. I totally think painting should be your own style. These are just techniques. You're going to take this technique and make your own style out of it. I think when you're painting, you should not be trying to make someone else's work, but take the techniques and use them to make your own look, make your own style, make your own signature out of it. We're just as much furniture designers as we are painters. These are looks that we come up with in our head, and the stuff you design is going to be unique to you. So even if you use my colors and my technique, your piece, your style, how you implement it is going to be your own. So I just brushed in a square of the vintage duck egg. It doesn't look great right now. And then I'm going to go back, no paint added, to my Stormy Seas brush. This is my dark color. I'm going to soften this corner to be kind of a rounded corner, I think. And I'm just going over where those two colors are meeting. Again, I'm kind of sitting off to the side. Normally I'd be right in front of this, like where you guys are. So if I'm missing something, that's probably kind of why. Just added a tiny bit of paint to my brush because this is looking a little abrupt to me. Just going to keep brushing over them. Okay, so now I'm going to come back with the driftwood into the center. So easy. What's the base color? Base color is exactly the same as what I'm doing right now. I just did this last night. Same 3 colors, same blending technique. I just did it twice. Only the base coat, I'm not as concerned about my transitions and how smooth they are. Basically, I'm just trying to get the colors in 2 coats in the same spot. So base coat is same thing, driftwood, Stormy Seas, and vintage duck egg. Blended together. So that was the driftwood. This is, I'm looking at this on camera. This looks a little abrupt to me. I'm going to come back and fix that. Fixing it is just brushing the colors over each other again. This is the vintage duck egg brush. I'm brushing it over the Stormy Seas. Just to kind of soften that. Now I'm going to take it, didn't add any paint, and now I'm going to blend it together with the driftwood. Because I want that to kind of be like a, you know, we're kind of working in like a circle here. You can brush vertically from the bottom up and from the top down, and that will help bring it together on the bottom and the top. Okay, and then I want to highlight that again, so I'm going to add more of the driftwood. And then I'm going to blend the outer edges again. I really don't want to go into the center because I do want that color to stay true. I just want to go around it so it looks like it's fading into itself. I'm sorry my phone keeps getting blurry, guys. Honestly, like, I don't know why it's doing that. It's every time I move, my phone wants to refocus. It's a new phone too. Samsung S8. I'm adding a little bit more water because this, I'm seeing this on camera, looks a little abrupt to me. This is the Stormy Seas brush. Like I said, it's not uncommon for me to let this dry and then come back and see if it's looks smooth or not. That looks pretty smooth to me. What was the base color? Oh, let's see, I already answered that. Thank you, guys. Yeah, Stormy Seas is the dark. My medium is vintage duck egg, and the center is driftwood. This could be any 3 tonal colors. So for example, I'm going to be doing a navy blue piece with the same technique. And I'm going to probably start with like a midnight sky and then Bunker Hill blue, and I might go to like Stormy Seas in the center. Just any 3 tonal. You want like a dark, a medium, and a light. You could do just 2. I could take the Stormy Seas and just put a dash of white in the middle, and it's going to be a little bit more, how do I keep my brush? I want it to drag in the first paint that I use. I don't worry about the colors mixing together on this. I don't keep the brushes clean. They're going to drag into each other, and you know, as you add paint to it, it'll get it back to its true color, but I don't worry about them dragging into each other at all. I need to do down here at the bottom. I'm just going to spritz it. This is just dark on the edges. So don't worry about the colors touching each other. You want to brush them together. You're trying to blend the colors. Let your brush get dirty. In that case, so I go through so much paint that I paint right out of these little jars. These little 8-ounce jars, I can get usually 2 projects out of these. And I don't worry about dipping a dirty brush in here because I go through it so quickly. These are very similar colors. I'm not going from, like, you know, orange to a yellow or anything crazy. It stays pretty true, but I dip it in and out of the jars, and I let the colors blend on here, so my brush does get dirty. Oh, you mean leaving a rough texture? Probably because the water, it's just gliding over the paint. That little bit of water just helps your brush glide. Don't let your brush get too dry. If your brush is too dry, you either need to add some paint or you need to add some water. Either one of those to help it glide easier. But yeah, you do need to keep your brush, something on your brush. So that's kind of it. Are you guys disappointed? It was so easy, huh? You guys go blend and send me some pictures. I want to see what you guys make. So that's kind of it. I'll go back and answer any questions you guys may have. But it's 3 colors, brushing them together. Yeah, I'll go ahead and add the black here. I'll do that for you guys right now. So I'm just going to add it on the very edges. It's kind of started to dry. Very, very little paint on my brush. And I just want it, this could be done with black wax too. Or dark wax even. You guys see how it just deepened that line a little bit? I'm going to go down here and do the same thing at the bottom. It just takes your dark color and makes it a little bit deeper just around the edges. It's like adding a 4th color. See, I got a little too much paint over there. Just gonna brush it in now. Yeah, that was a little too much, guys. Sorry. Try to hide some of that with the Stormy Seas. Just adds a little bit of drama around the edges. I'm messing it up a little bit. It's a process. It's never perfect the first time around. This is the vintage duck egg brush. Since I just changed that transition, just brushing those together a little bit. Probably looks different on camera than it does to me in person too. It's like looking in a mirror a little bit. Looks perfect to you. Thank you. What will I use as the top coat? I love, so can you guys see this? Oh yeah. I've stripped the top down on this. The top is going to be stained, and I will coat that in gator hide. But I'm a wax girl. I love wax. I love the texture of it. I love putting it on. I love how it feels. I have wax pieces in my home. I love how they look. It's what this paint was made for, in my opinion. So I will clear wax this after I'm done. From here, I'm going to clear wax. Then I'm going to put glaze on. The glaze is just going to go in details like this line right here. We'll get some glaze along it. The down at the bottom here. The frames around the doors. So I will come back. So now you kind of have this full look on camera because I did the glazing on camera. I did the gold gilding wax on camera. So from here I'm going to clear wax. I'm going to add the glaze, the dark glaze around the door frames. And then I'm going to do the gilding wax. Then I will clear wax it again to seal in that glazing. And then I will go through and just add some shading around the doors with the dark and black waxes. And that's it. Looks great so far. It's going to be really pretty. Thank you so much, Anna, for trying Dixie Belle. I really like it. I've been really happy with the paint. So that's it. I should have this done in the next few days. I'm trying to get this done by Tuesday for my customer. You're a wax girl too. It's the way to go. It's beautiful stuff. I just love wax. I love the durability of gator hide, and that's part of the reason that you see on a lot of pieces I do that I do a wood top on them, because gator hide on the top, then that's your most used piece. This doesn't get a lot of finger wear. Your most used piece is the top. So now I've got a top that's protected in gator hide from, you know, water spills and things like that, but my body is waxed. Where do you find most of your pieces? This is a customer piece. She brought this to me and chose her finish. But let's see, my own stuff, which you can see piled up in the back right over there. My own stuff, I look daily. I look on Craigslist. I look on Facebook Marketplace. I look on OfferUp. I go to yard sales. I go to estate sales. My kids love going picking with me. I'm going to add glaze and dark wax on this. I'm going to add the I could use just dark wax, but the glaze is easier. I will glaze just to get into the crevices. I really want to emphasize those crevices, and the dark wax will be more of a softer, smooth, smudgy look. So I'm going to use the glaze for the sharp, dark parts, and then I'm going to use the dark waxes where I want it kind of smudgy in the corners. Yeah, it'll be dark waxes just in the corners, but it'll already have the glaze in there to really emphasize it. And then I'll just it's almost the same effect where the glaze is my dark and then the waxes are my light, or my medium and my light, where I'm making that transition again from dark to light. It's always more pressure when it's a client's piece. Yeah, it is. I prefer to work on my own stuff 100%. I feel like the pieces turn out better when it's my piece and I choose to look for it. But I have some really good customers. She's bought a piece from me before where she knows my work. I know she likes it, and she gives me a color and then trusts me to make decisions, and I appreciate that. Let's see, if you wanted to go with Plum Crazy, it depends. You could take Plum Crazy. Plum Crazy is a purpley tone. You could go, it depends on what you want to pull out of it. So let's say, for example, vintage duck egg. I could go into blues with this. I could go into grays with this. I could go into whites with this. So Plum Crazy, it depends on if you want to go darker. You could use that as the Plum Crazy as your medium tone, and then a purple, and then go into a gray, like driftwood. You could use peony, which is a bright pink, would be really pretty with it. How long does the glaze dry before waxing? I'll let the glaze dry overnight before I put a coat of wax on it. What brand of wax? Dixie Belle wax. Dixie Belle Best Dang Wax. I don't have it out right now, but I like their wax. I like that teal piece I just did. Has all over black wax, and Dixie Belle's waxes are super soft. So when you're doing all over black or dark wax, it's important that your waxes are really soft. It's perfect. It goes on perfect. It's nice and smooth. So I think that's it. I don't want to bore you guys anymore. I'll let you guys go back to your families. Enjoy your Sunday night. Have a good week. Thank you guys for watching. It's so easy. Send me pictures of your pieces. I'll talk to you later.